Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, and thank you for joining us once again on our channel, where today we are going to talk about one of the most unbelievable and exciting stories in the world of modern coins, a story that proves even the most ordinary looking pocket change can turn into a life-changing treasure, and I'm talking about the 2022 1-cent coin, the Lincoln penny that many people have used, spent, and ignored without a second thought, but which in rare error forms has been valued at an incredible $7 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny from 2022 can be worth $7 million because of the rare and dramatic errors that occurred during its production, and in this video we will dive deeply into every possible reason why, exploring the types of mistakes, minting anomalies, and unique conditions that transform a 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece, and the most thrilling part is that these rare coins can still be found in circulation, meaning any person checking their change or going through rolls from the bank could potentially discover a hidden fortune. So let's set the stage and explain why the 2022 1-cent has captivated collectors around the world, because the United States Mint in 2022 continued to strike billions of Lincoln cents as they have done every year, using zinc planchets plated with copper, and the Denver and Philadelphia mints were the main facilities responsible, and with production running at such high speeds, mistakes inevitably occur. And while most minor mistakes are caught by the mint's quality control systems, a few extraordinary errors slip through, and when they do, they create some of the most prized collectibles in numismatic history. So what kind of errors can make a 2022 penny worth millions? Well, one of the most famous error categories is the doubled die. And in 2022 some examples surfaced where the obverse shows noticeable doubling in Lincoln's eye, lips, ear, or in the motto, "In God We Trust," and these doubled dies are created during the hubbing process when the die receives multiple impressions that are not perfectly aligned, resulting in a doubling effect that gets transferred to every coin struck by that die, and since these are dramatic and easily visible without magnification in some cases, collectors rush to secure them, driving their value sky high. But the story doesn't end there, because other error types like off-center strikes where the design is shifted to one side leaving part of the coin blank, broad strikes where the collar fails and the coin spreads wider than normal, or die cracks and cuts where broken pieces of the die leave raised blobs of metal across Lincoln's portrait, all contribute to making unique pieces. And then there are even rarer anomalies like die clashes where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving impressions of one side's design ghosted onto the other side, making for some of the most dramatic error visuals you can imagine. And now imagine a 2022 cent with multiple of these errors combined, such as a double die with an off-center strike and a dramatic die crack. That would be a one-of-a-kind coin, and such uniqueness is exactly what drives multi-million-dollar valuations, because collectors at the highest level are willing to pay anything to secure an irreplaceable treasure. And another factor that adds to the intrigue of the 2022 penny is the possibility of transitional or wrong planchet errors, because although the mint primarily struck copper-plated zinc cents, mistakes can happen where a coin is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, for example a dime planchet, a foreign coin blank, or even a leftover bronze planchet from pre-1982, and such an error would create immediate historic significance. Because transitional errors are some of the rarest and most desirable pieces in all of coin collecting, commanding prices in the millions. And while most 2022 cents are ordinary, the mere possibility that a few were struck on the wrong planchet keeps treasure hunters checking every coin, and history shows that wrong planchet coins do surface from time to time, adding weight to the possibility that a 2022 cent with such a mistake exists and could be worth $7 million or more. And when we look at the overall market, we see a pattern where dramatic modern errors have sold for staggering sums, with collectors and investors competing at major auctions, pushing prices to record levels, and the 2022 penny is no exception, with rumors and confirmed reports of rare double dies and off-metal strikes fueling intense demand. And this demand is not just about the coin itself but about the story, because each error coin tells the tale of how it slipped through the mint's strict production process, how it survived circulation, how it was finally discovered by an eagle-eyed collector or even an unsuspecting individual, and how it eventually found its way into the spotlight. And these stories make the coins more than currency, they become artifacts of human error, chance, and survival. And in the world of collecting, story is everything. It adds a layer of romance and adventure that money alone cannot explain. Which is why a $7 million valuation on a 2022 cent makes perfect sense when you consider the narrative that comes with it, and let's not forget multi-strike errors where a coin is struck more than once by the press, creating overlapping or ghostly images of Lincoln or the reverse shield design, and blockage errors where a coin sticks to the die and impresses a mirror image onto the next coin, and both of these are among the most dramatic and visually stunning types of mint errors that always fetch huge sums at auction. So a 2022 cent with a spectacular multi-strike or blockage could easily capture the attention of collectors willing to pay millions, and one must also consider the condition factor, because in coin collecting condition is king, and a rare error in pristine uncirculated state is worth many times more than the same error in worn condition, so if someone finds a 2022 error penny that has remained untouched and preserved, its value could skyrocket far beyond initial estimates, possibly surpassing even the $7 million mark. And to put this into perspective, think about other famous error coins, like the 1955 double die cent or the 1969 S double die, which have sold for tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands, and those were discovered decades ago, yet their value continues to climb. Now combine that precedent with today's global market, online auctions, and international collectors with deep pockets, and you can see why a 2022 cent with a major error could command astronomical prices. And here is another exciting possibility. Some 2022 cents may show misaligned die strikes, tilted collar errors, or struck-through errors where foreign material like grease, thread, or even a piece of metal becomes lodged between the die and the planchet, leaving bizarre impressions and missing details on the coin, and these errors are highly collectible because they make each coin truly one of a kind, and the fascination is that no one can predict what will turn up, meaning treasure hunters are constantly motivated to search every 2022 penny they encounter, hoping to stumble upon the next multi-million-dollar find. And what makes the 2022 issue particularly interesting is the sheer scale of its mintage, with billions struck, which statistically increases the odds of rare and spectacular errors being created, yet at the same time the survival rate of dramatic errors is extremely low because most are caught and destroyed, meaning that those few which do survive are immensely valuable. And if we imagine a scenario where a collector uncovers a 2022 penny with a massive obverse die break creating what collectors call a spiked head or crown error on Lincoln, it could become a headline-making piece valued in the millions, and the buzz from such a discovery would not only boost the value of that single coin but also raise interest in all 2022 cents, encouraging more people to search, and this cycle of discovery and excitement is what keeps the market alive and thriving. And when we look at auctions, private sales, and collector communities, we see that the appetite for modern errors has never been stronger, because they represent living history, errors happening in our own time rather than centuries ago, and this accessibility makes them even more appealing, as collectors feel they could genuinely participate in the hunt rather than just reading about it in books, and that is why the 2022 1 cent valued at $7 million is more than just hype. It is a reflection of the passion, rarity, and dramatic nature of coin errors, and when you think about the future, coins like these will only increase in value. Because as time passes and more ordinary 2022 cents disappear from circulation, the few spectacular errors that survive will stand out even more, cementing their status as legendary rarities. And for anyone